NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki joins us from the big board. Steve, we're still 9 months away from the general election, but these numbers just are terrible for the sitting president.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not the way Biden wants to be starting his re-election campaign. As you say, if there's a bright side of this for Biden and the Democrats is that there is, at least in theory, time to turn it around. But let me show you what he does need to turn around. The bottom line number is this one, matching Trump versus Biden in a potential general election. Trump 47, Biden 42. Last time we asked this was last November. We had Trump at 46, Biden 44 then. So from a 2-point Trump lead to a Biden lead of 5 points. And I should note these last two polls, November and this new one, they're the only two times we've been polling a Trump-Biden matchup going back to 2019 and 2020. 2023, 2024, the only two polls that Trump's led Biden that we've taken are the most recent two. So Biden's numbers, even in the last few months, have gone down. You show the approval rating there of 37%. This is the lowest mark he has hit in his presidency in our poll for approval. The disapproval at 60 is the highest. Further context on this, the last time an NBC poll had any president this low for approval was 2008 with George W. Bush.
You know, what's so stunning about it is that the economy is doing so well. I'm going to pick that up with the panel right now, Steve. But the president's getting just no credit for it at all. Thank you.
Got it.
And the latest jobs report just blew past expectations on Friday. So much so, even former Trump White House advisor and Fox Business commentator Larry Kudlow was forced to admit it.
My mea culpa, I was wrong about the slowdown in the recession. It is what it is. It's a very strong report. Not every economic stat should be viewed through a political lens.
Joining us now, former Obama White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs, the Bulwark writer at large Tim Miller, a former top advisor to Jeb Bush, and Boston Globe columnist Kimberly Atkins-Storr. So, Robert Gibbs, you've run campaigns, successful campaigns. How can this White House turn around the public perception about the economy? Because even Larry Kudlow admits that, politics aside, this is a great report.
Yeah, the jobs numbers have been good. The stock market mostly has been strong. The inflation is coming down. I think it's going to take a while for people to really and totally feel that. I mean, prices have come down obviously from a high year and a half ago, but look, I think there's a lot of people that still feel like they're paying too much for things. I would point to a number in this poll that shows the number of people pessimistic about the economy over the next year has dropped appreciably. A 14-point drop since that November poll that Steve was talking about, of people who think the economy is going to get worse. 16 points if you go back to the poll in July. So I think there's the beginnings of that economic turnaround. I think the president, though, has to take the fight to Trump on the economy, talk about what President Biden is for, and talk about what former President Donald Trump advocates.
I also want to play something for all of you that the Fed Chairman Jay Powell said on 60 Minutes last night. Distilling the dilemma that he was asked by Scott Pelley, you know, what are the things that scare you most about what's going to happen next, what could happen next? I'm paraphrasing. And interestingly, this is what his answer was.
Really, since World War II, the United States has been the indispensable nation supporting and defending democracy, security arrangements, economic arrangements. We've been the leading voice on that, and it is clear that the world wants that. And I would want the United States to know, people in the United States to know that this has benefited our country enormously. It benefits our economy so much to have this role.
In other words, he's worried that that's not going to continue in the future. He, not being political, but implicitly, he's talking about what would happen if Donald Trump comes in and carries out his promises, which is to get out of NATO and not be a world leader, not fund Ukraine. Tim Miller?
I think there are very good reasons to be concerned about that. I think that isolationist wing of the Republican Party is ascendant right now. I think, frankly, it's underrepresented in Washington. I think the voters, if you look at polls of Republican voters, or you talk to Republican voters, they are more sympathetic to the idea that we should pull back from Ukraine, pull back from the world, than a lot of Republican elected officials are. So I think there's good reason to be worried about that going forward. And just adding on to Gibbs, I think that on the economy side of things, there usually is a lag in these things. So if I were the Biden campaign, I'd continue speaking about economic issues and the positive progress and kind of reassess this thing in 2 months. So I think the economy thing could get better for him, whereas the age issue, I don't know that that's going to get much better, obviously, between me and here election day.
And one of the problems that the president is having is losing young voters over the war, losing people of color, black and Hispanic voters, part of his base. Kimberly, Nikki Haley was part of SNL's Cold Open on Saturday, where she admitted she should have cited slavery as the cause of the Civil War.
What would you say was the main cause of the Civil War? And do you think it starts with an S and ends with a lavery?
Yep, I probably should have said that the first time. And live from New York, it's Saturday night.
She also debated Donald Trump and, chastised him for refusing to debate. But Kimberly, she corrected that. But she's still not going after Trump for deploying his birther tactics against her.
Yeah, I have to start by saying I see nothing funny about normalizing racism. I mean, she made a political calculation with her answer about the Civil War. She said what she said, and we heard her. And I think a tone-deaf skit doesn't really change that. But the fact that she isn't going full board after Donald Trump shows that there is still this fear on her part, a belief that she still has to pander to the worst of the GOP base in order to have a shot at getting ahead, even though it is a one-on-one competition now between her and Trump. She has every opportunity to go after him fully and to show that she is actually understanding the issues as she claimed to be in that skit, but she has failed to do that.